Hey, it's Archdad, and today I'm going to show you how to install Arch Linux from scratch. This method I'm going to show you is going to walk you through how to put the ISO file onto a bootable USB stick, and then once you boot into it, how to run through the install with a variety of installation options. So first thing we're going to need to do is download the latest Arch ISO file. So we'll go over to archlinux.org and then download in the top right corner. And there's a variety of options. You can use the BitTorrent option. There's a couple other things as well too, but the easiest is just download from the worldwide options here or one of your country options if there's something closer to where you are. For this, I'm just going to use the first option, the first worldwide one, and then simply download the very first ISO that appears here. It's 1.5 gigabytes in size, and it shows the date of it right now. So 2025 November 01. So it's the most recent ISO available. So we'll download that. I'll get that out of the way. And that's coming in fast. Okay. So now that that's finished downloading, we can close our browser and open up terminal. So I'm using console. You might use something different, but this is the default one that comes with a clean install of KDE Plasma on Arch. So before we do anything, we're going to plug our USB stick into our computer. And it's going to give you a pop-up here saying, this is what the title is, and here's an option to mount and open it. We don't want to do that though, because if we mount it, we can't write to it the way that we want to. So instead, in the terminal here, we're going to go lsblk, and we're going to see our USB stick right here, this SDA, and then it's broken into two partitions right now. And then there's the rest of our system, the local hard drive or NVMe SSD that's inside of this computer, but the one that we care about for this is going to be SDA. So depending on where you downloaded that, head into your downloads directory and you'll see the file that we just downloaded, the latest Arch Linux. And all we have to do now is write it to that USB stick. And remember, whatever is on there after you run this command is gone. So if there's anything that you need to back up, do that now. Anything you want to copy off that USB stick, do it now, because once we run this next command, it's going to wipe everything off of that stick and you're going to lose what was on there. So fair warning, be careful with your data, but this next command here is going to wipe that thing clean. So when you're ready, once everything is backed up as you want it to be, and you're sure that there's nothing on that USB stick that you need to write to, enter the following: sudo dd bs equals 4, and then a capital M, and then if equals, and now you have to put in the path to this ISO file. So mine is in my home directory /downloads. So it's going to be home /archdad/downloads, and then that full file name, followed by of equals /dev/ and this is where you're going to look up here to see what that USB stick is named as. So it's SDA in this case. If you have multiples, make sure that you're choosing the right one. You might have SDA, SDB, SDC if you have a couple of them plugged in. So make sure that you choose the correct one. In this case, I only have the one plugged in, so I know that it's SDA. And then conv equals fsync. Before you press enter, just again, make sure that you've got the right USB stick selected and that you're not putting in the name of your hard drive that's inside your computer, because that's going to do the same thing. It's going to wipe it out, which you don't want to do. So Just double check it. We've got the correct path to the ISO file. And then we also have SDA, which is what we see up here. And when you're confident that that's right, press enter. It's going to ask for your password. And it's now writing to the USB stick. And just as fast as that, it's already done. It's going to give you the option to mount and open it again. You don't need to do that because we don't need to make any changes to that stick right now. I can't record this because it's not, the recording software just doesn't give me the option to do it. But what you need to do is find out how to select the boot menu when your computer starts up. So quite often when it boots up, it's going to very quickly say, press escape, press F2, press 11, F11, press delete, something like that to get to the boot menu. Quite often it comes up so fast that it's hard to see, so you might have to do it multiple times, or search is your friend. So try and search for the option for your particular computer on how to get to the boot menu. For mine, it just happens to be escape. It's very easy to remember, but for you, it could be something different. So shut down your system. When prompted to, press that key and just spam it. Just keep on tapping it because timing can be very, very quick. And it's going to bring up an option for you to select which drive you want to boot from. The first option will likely be your internal hard drive, and the second option is going to be that USB stick that you just created. So it should be identifiable as to which one is which. But if you can't tell, try one. If it doesn't get you to the Arch installer, just try again. Because the one option is going to be your internal and the other option is going to be this new one that you went with. So with that said, I'm just going to exit out here, go to restart, and I'll catch you in a second on the other side. So now that we're booted in, this is the option you're going to see. It's after you select which drive you want to boot from. So if you selected your internal hard drive, it'll boot to whatever your default operating system was. But if you selected the other option, that newly created USB stick, you're going to have options like this. So we want to check the first one. So Arch Linux install medium. So all you have to do is wait for that 15-second timer to time out, or just press enter on it and it'll proceed. All right, now we're at the command line and nothing is happening, but that's okay. With Arch, the beauty of it is that we have full control over everything that happens here. Okay, so we need to connect to a network. If you have a LAN cable or Ethernet cable plugged in, then you don't need to worry about this because you'll have network access that way. But if you don't and you need to use Wi-Fi, then as you can see in the purple text up there, it says use the IWCTL utility. So to fire that up, all you need to do is IWCTL, and it's going to bring you to a new prompt here. This isn't going to behave exactly as what you're going to see if you're installing this right onto your computer, because I'm doing this in a virtual machine, but I'm going to show you the right commands to make it happen anyway. So what you need to do is at first type station list. Mine's blank right here because I'm installing this in a virtual machine just so I can record this and show you what it looks like. But it would normally show devices that you have access to. So if you have a wireless card in there, it's going to have something like WLAN0 under the name. And then the state, it'll probably say disconnected right below that. So knowing that WLAN0, what we're going to do now is go station, and then what you see there under name. Again, here, because it's virtual, it's not going to show me anything, but installing this on the computer on its own, it's going to show me WLAN0 as my wireless interface. So station WLAN0, connect, and then input your Wi-Fi network's name. So it's case sensitive. All of this stuff is. So make sure that you type in the name properly. So your network name or whatever the name of your Wi-Fi is, and press enter. For me, it says device not found, but for you, it'll likely ask for a password next. And that's where you enter your Wi-Fi password. Simple as that. Once it's connected, if you go station list again, it's going to show the name, WLAN0, and then state, it'll show connected. Device list will also do something similar. But once you enter the password, it should connect for you that way. And once it's all connected, just simply exit. And then we are ready to start the install. Now that you're connected to Wi-Fi, we can start the Arch installer. So it's as simple as Arch install. New version available. Interesting. I just downloaded this seconds ago and it says there's a new one, but that's the beauty of a rolling distro like Arch. So first option here is, and this is all going to be by using your keyboard that you're going to move around on this. So press enter on language if you want to change it to something else. By default, it's going to be on English, but you can change it to whatever you need it to be. For locales, again, if you need to change your keyboard or anything like that, you can do it right here prior to install. And then mirrors and repositories. So select regions. Just like when we downloaded it, there might be one that's closer to you in a country, either right in your country or in a country that's near you that you want to select. So select that one. Just press the space bar when you're on said country to select it or deselect it. And then when there's a little X beside the country that you want, press enter. And it's going to populate that for you. Optional repositories, it's also good to add multilib by pressing space again. So there's an X and then enter on it. And then back. Next thing we're going to want to do is disk configuration. So press enter on there, partitioning. And you have a couple options here. You can use the best effort. So what it thinks is going to look or going to be the best layout for you. You can do it manually yourself, or you can do a pre-mounted config. I always go with use best effort. It hasn't failed me so far, and I like the way that it lays out the partitioning. So we're going to select your hard drive on your computer. And remember, once you do this, it's going to wipe everything clean. So whatever is on there before you proceed past this next step, make sure you have backups. Don't go past this step if you don't have backups, because once this process starts, it's going to be completely wiped out. If you have multiple options here, one of them might be your hard drive, the other might be the USB stick. Make sure you select your hard drive, not the USB stick, because you want to install this onto your hard drive. So just like before, space to get that X in the little box and then enter. Choose your file system. I find that with Arch, the BTRFS seems to work very well. There are a couple other options. If you have a preference, you can go with those, but for me, BTRFS does the trick very well. Would you like to use a default structure? Yes, I would. Would you like to use compression or disable copy on write? This one's up to you. If you're going to be doing a lot of virtualization and things like that, disabling it might be a better option for you. If you're not, using compression is fine. The other option too is if you are going to be doing virtualization, you can use compression, but then when you create those virtual disks, you can set those up to be raw instead of copy on write, and then they'll behave as expected for you. So because I'm installing this the way I always do, I'm going to use compression. And it shows right there how it's going to divide things up for us. So it's got the one primary partition, which is the boot for 1 gigabyte. And then the second one is going to be 29 gigabytes. And that's going to have our 4 subvolumes of home, var, log, all that kind of stuff in there. So we're going to leave this up entirely to the system to figure out. You can also encrypt your disk if you want to. I always do because it's a good idea, especially if you have a laptop. If someone's going to if you lose your device and it's not encrypted, all your data goes with it. If it's encrypted and they don't have the key for it, you're protected, right? As of right now. The talk of quantum computing and all that kind of stuff is a different conversation, but I'll show you how to do that right now. So go to LVM and enter. Default layout, BTRFS. Use default, yes. Use compression. And then disk encryption. Type LVM on Lux. Encryption password. This, you need to remember it. And don't make it something simple either, but you have to remember this because without this password, you're not going to be able to get into your computer nor access the data that's in it. So be very careful with this one. Don't write it on a sticky note onto your monitor, but something that you're going to be able to remember. So I'm just going to type in something very simple. For my password right now, I recommend something longer, more of a passphrase, something with spaces in it even would be a good idea, just something that you're able to remember. And then go down to partitions and select your new partition to be encrypted, and then back. Snapshots, just a very good idea. So Arch has something that it uses called Snapper, which is going to create snapshots of your system. So if at some point you do something, you completely blow your system up, nothing's working any longer, you can roll back to whatever the last snapshot was. So I always select Snapper to be able to do that. That'll be in a separate video showing how to do that. But for now, I'm going to enable it on this install. And then back. Swap, I just leave it as default. Bootloader, I leave it as systemd boot default as well too. You can choose one of the others if you want to, but systemd boot is the default one. Unified kernel images, I'm going to leave. Hostname, you can select, and you can name your system whatever you want. Arch, by the way, whatever you'd like to call it. Now, authentication. You have to set a root password and then also set up your user account. So for the root password, make sure it's something that you're going to be able to remember. You're going to have to type it quite often when you're using Linux. So make sure it's something that's not impossible to type, but also very, very difficult to guess. And now create a user account. Username, so I'm going to make it for me. My username and then password. After you type in your password, it says, should ArchDad be a super user? Sudo. Yes or no? Yes is a good idea so that when you're logged in as ArchDad, you don't have to change to the super user or root to be able to do a few things. You can do it right from that account by inputting the root passwords. Password, there's not multiples of them, just the one. And then confirm and exit. Profile. So now we can select the profile type. So there's desktop, there's minimal server, and then there's Xorg. So depending on what kind of system you're installing, you want to, you're allowed to choose or able to choose right here. I want to install this as a functional desktop computer. So I'm going to choose desktop. And as you can see, there's a whole bunch of different options that you can go through. It's not a bad idea to search for these and see what they look like and see what you think a good fit and feel will be for you. As for me, I prefer KDE Plasma. Seems to work very well, highly customizable, and it's done great for me in my time using Linux. So same as before, just scroll down to it and press X or space, sorry, to put that X in the checkbox and then enter. Graphics driver, all open source is a good start. If you know, what you're going to be running with. So if you have an AMD graphics card or an NVIDIA, you can choose one of the others, but all open source is a good start. to base everything off of. Get Arch installed first and running, and then you can start to play with your drivers for your GPU after the fact if you need to. And then Greeter, I like to go with STDM. That's the default one. Seems to work well. And back. Applications. So we're going to turn on Bluetooth. Actually, I'm not going to do it because I'm installing it into a virtual machine. But for you, I'd recommend it if you wanted to connect to Bluetooth speakers or earbuds or something like that. Other Bluetooth keyboards, mouse, whatever. And then audio, Pipewire works very well. Yeah, disabled, Pipewire, okay. Kernels, you have a choice of the default, and then there's also hardened, LTS, and Zen. Benefits to each one, but the default one seems to work very well. It's the most up to date. Supposedly the Zen one is faster, but I can't measure that. I don't know. So I just always go with the default. For network configuration, I roll down to use Network Manager, and that's how we're going to be able to configure everything in KDE later when we need to. And additional packages. So usually I don't install very much here at all, but there's one thing that I do want to install to make sure it's there right from the get-go, and that's Snappack. And what that is it's not Snap, like the package manager Snap. What it is the snapshots snapper connected to Pacman, which is the package manager in Arch Linux. So what it does is it'll create pre and post snapshots. So if you install something, it's going to create a snapshot of your system right before you install it. And then it creates a snapshot of your system right after it installs it. The benefit of that is if you install something you didn't want to, you can roll back. If you install something that breaks your system for whatever reason, you can roll back. So it's a nice thing to have that works automatically for you. So you can scroll down if you want, but looking for something that starts with S is going to take a long time. So to search with this, just /, and then you can start to type. So snap -pack is going to give us our package. And I just simply pressed enter on that. You can see in info, it says snap-pack. It's already got it there as an option for us. Choose your time zone. It's divided up into a variety depending on where you are. You can pick whatever's going to be local to you. If you don't know what it is, try and find the city. If you know exactly what the plus or minus from GMT is, you can use that as well too. But otherwise, yeah, just pick where you are, or just pick UTC if you don't care. And or UTC, sorry, not UTC, not UCT. Screwed me up when I saw it there. UTC, just for the default, if that's how you want to operate. Automatic time sync is enabled by default, so that's all we need to do there. And then we're going to go to install. And again, before you do this, ensure that whatever you're installing onto, be it your hard drive or something else, that everything that's on there you have backed up, because once you start this process, you cannot go back. It's going to repartition, it's going to wipe everything out. So again, make sure you're doing it. I'm not liable for any of this stuff if you screw it up. So once you've got it double checked that you're good to go and you're okay to install it, just select install and press enter. It's going to ask if you would like to continue, and we're going to say yes to start the process. Feel free to go refresh your beverage or whatever you're enjoying right now, because this process will take a few minutes. It doesn't take forever, but it's enough time for a bathroom break or a refill of your drink. So I'm going to speed this up during the editing process so that we don't have to watch this in real time. And I'll catch you on the other end once it's all done. Okay, it's all done. So it's going to give you a couple options here. You can exit Arch install. It's going to take you back to that command line. You can reboot, or you can chroot into the install. We don't need to do that. We can go right to reboot if you want. If you select reboot, when you do that, once the computer, it's going to roll some text on the screen for you at first. Once that's done, make sure to remove your USB stick, because otherwise it's going to want to boot back to that again. So make sure to get that out of there before that happens. If you do select exit Arch install instead, and it brings you back to the command line, you can reboot right from here. So you can go reboot now, and it's going to reboot it for you. And then you're right back to the boot menu. So it's going to have a couple options for you. The first one is just going to boot right to the default kernel that you have installed. So just gives you 3 seconds. It'll automatically boot to that, or press enter yourself to have it proceed. Because we set up encryption, we're not going anywhere until we input our password. So make sure to put your password into there. Or passphrase, I guess. That makes more sense because the longer the better, as long as it's something that you can remember. And when you put that in, the system's going to boot up. And here we are, boot right into KDE. So it's really ugly to start with because for some reason it doesn't give you Breeze as the theme for SDDM. It just has this one for some reason. So once we log in, we'll fix all of that. So it's going to have your username of the account that you just created, and then enter your password. To log in, and here we are, logged into a fresh install of Arch Linux with KDE Plasma. You can go through this. I'm just going to skip it right now because I want to show you how to set that SDDM login to be the right theme. So just simply left click here, type SDDM, and then it's going to have your login screen, configure login manager. And you can choose whatever one you want, but Breeze seems to work really well. So select Breeze and apply. And it's going to want our password. And it's good. So just to show you that in action. So if we log out and then log back in again, you can see that looks far better than the last option that came up for us, right? So there you go. There's a plain Arch install with KDE Plasma. From here, you can configure this to be, whatever you need it, whatever you'd like it to be. That's the beauty of KDE. The other ones are configurable as well too, but I find this is the one that I'm most familiar with, and I love it. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions on how to do something during the install, feel free to leave it in the comments. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.